Thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
My first name is Jeremy, spelled Jeremy. My last name is Phillips, Philipps.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. How are you employed, sir?
I'm employed with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
And how long have you worked in law enforcement?
I've been in law enforcement for a total of 14 years next month.
All with the City of Waukesha?
I have about 5 months with the City of Dodgeville Police Department in Wisconsin. The rest has been with the City of Waukesha.
All right. Sir, I'd like to direct your attention to the date of November 21 of 2021, please. Were you working that afternoon?
I was working that afternoon, yes.
What was your duty or assignment?
I was assigned a normal patrol beat, squad area 216 with the City of Waukesha on a 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. shift.
Were you aware there was a parade taking place in downtown Waukesha that afternoon?
I was aware that there was a Christmas parade downtown Waukesha.
Were you directly assigned to work the parade?
I was not assigned to work the parade.
You said you were one of the officers that was just involved in general patrol of the city that afternoon.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. I'd like to direct your attention to time around 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon. Do you recall getting dispatched to Frame Park?
I do recall being dispatched there, yes.
Do you know the exact time you were dispatched?
I believe it was 4:52 p.m. approximately there.
Okay. And where is Frame Park located?
Frame Park is rather large, but it's generally located in the downtown area off of White Rock Avenue and Baxter Avenue.
What was the nature of the complaint you were responding to?
I received a complaint to respond in emergency fashion, which means light and siren, for subjects fighting in the park with a knife allegedly involved.
Where were you coming from?
I was in the patrol area of East Moreland, roughly at East Main Street at the time, and that's where I was responding from.
Was Main Street shut down at the time for the parade?
Main Street where I was responding from was not, no.
Okay. I guess let me ask a better question. Were you able to travel along Main Street to get to Frame Park? From where you were located to get to where you needed to go, did you travel on Main Street?
I did not travel on Main Street to get to Frame Park.
Okay. And which direction did you come in from then?
I came in on East Moreland, westbound, to White Rock Avenue, westbound.
And as you approached the area, could you see individuals associated with the parade?
Yes, I could, as I neared the vicinity.
What do you remember seeing?
As I neared the vicinity of White Rock Avenue at Baxter, directly in front of me appeared to be a unmarked patrol vehicle, silver in color, which was blocking the roadway at White Rock Avenue and Hartwell Avenue. And I believe off to the side, I could also see a marked patrol vehicle.
Could you see any floats or people participating in the parade?
At that particular time, as I arrived in the vicinity, I did not. I just saw the side of a squad car with emergency lights activated. It wasn't until a little while later I saw that there were floats and such on the other side of that patrol vehicle.
The silver colored SUV with lights, red and blue lights activated, do you know whose squad car that was?
That belonged to Sergeant Dave Warner.
Where did you go?
When I arrived to the area, initial dispatch information stated that this alleged fight involving a knife was somewhere in the vicinity of the Schutze building where the boat ramp was. Based on my training and experience of that vicinity, I know that the boat rental checkout is on the back side of the Schutze building. So that's the initial area I responded to and where my attention was drawn to.
This time, Your Honor, I'm going to ask your permission to put up Exhibit 1, which is the map of the area we've been working off of.
Permission granted. Yes.
Do you see that item in front of you, Officer Phillips, on the screen?
I do now.
Okay.
You want, oh, it needs to be public, all the way. Thank you. Sure.
So that is a touch screen in front of you. If you want to draw or circle or anything like that, you may, or you can just simply talk. I'd like you to identify for us where you came in to the area.
Well, it's not really blowing up, so.
No, if you want it blown up, we can blow it up from our table. Sorry. We'll zoom in.
If you wouldn't mind, where it says Frame Park in the upper right-hand corner, that would be, looks like the vicinity that I probably responded to. I would need to see a bigger image.
Is that good?
That will suffice.
Okay.
So I responded in a direction on White Rock Avenue, coming this way. This now is Baxter Avenue, which I would have made a right-hand turn onto. And right about in this parking lot area is where the Shootsy building exists. And then there would be a boardwalk and some trails behind that where the boat ramp would be.
Okay. And you drove in that area first, right?
Correct.
What were you looking for?
At that time, I was looking for anybody suspicious that may be involved in a fight, somebody carrying a weapon, somebody that might have been battered and bruised or obviously injured or in need of help.
Okay. Did you see anybody?
I did not.
Did you drive around a little bit?
I drove around in the parking lot of the Shootsy building. There was another officer already on scene who, from my understanding, was already on foot in and around the vicinity of the Shootsy building and advised that they could not find anybody at the Shootsy building.
Okay. Officer Phillips, do you see White Rock School on this map?
I do, yes.
Could you put an X on White Rock School?
White Rock School is this elongated building right here, so we'll draw a large X through it.
Okay. And you said the roadway running parallel to White Rock to the north is Baxter?
Correct.
Okay. And Baxter is the road closest to the river. There's no other roads that run along the river there. Just like a walking path or something, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Another officer's out on foot. What do you do?
At this point, the officer came over the radio and stated he could not find anybody in the vicinity. I was listening and monitoring the radio, and at some point, what I thought was a reserve officer came over and said that they were speaking with a couple of subjects potentially involved. So at that time, I got on the radio and said that I was going to attempt to meet with the caller because I didn't exactly know who this reserve officer was speaking to, how many subjects were involved, if they were actually involved or just a witness to the situation. All of that information was completely unbeknownst to me, so I decided I should probably go meet with a reserve officer and figure out who these subjects are and what the involvement was.
This reserve officer was working as part of the parade, is that right?
He was. He was in the vicinity right at Sergeant Dave Warner's location.
Okay. So did you drive down there?
I started to drive in that general direction towards White Rock Avenue in Hartwell, which is where Dave Warner and Reserve Officer Troutman would have been. Before I could fully reach that intersection, there was approximately 3 subjects off to my right-hand side on the sidewalk that were yelling, screaming, and waving, like flagging me down. The way that they were doing this, they appeared to be in distress. They appeared that they needed immediate help and certainly appeared that they needed to speak with somebody in law enforcement.
Can you put a small X on the map in the approximate area where you met up with these 3 individuals, or they were waving at you?
It would have been about halfway between Baxter and where Sergeant Warner's squad was parked. So again, this is going to be an approximation, but I'm going to put that X right about here.
Okay. So I assume you pulled over.
I pulled over, I rolled down my passenger window, and 2 of the subjects started yelling that their friend had been assaulted. So it was right at that point that they started trying to tell me that their friend had been assaulted, that information came over the radio on the primary dispatch channel that something had happened downtown and somebody had been hit. So at that point, my attention started to get a little bit diverted because hearing that on the radio is not something that just happens every day. That perks you up pretty quickly to figure out, that could be a serious injury. That could be more officers needed, something that affects. That took my attention away briefly. As I looked back at the subjects, they started to again say that their friend had been assaulted. So I said, hold on, let me pull over so I can get out so I can speak with you directly in person and figure out what was going on. I pulled my squad over.
Yep, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. I pulled my squad over. I exited my driver's side of the vehicle, came around to the front of my vehicle when a short black female who was wearing what appeared to be a blue coat and blue jeans walked in the front of my patrol vehicle. There was 2 other subjects that were with her, and they started to indicate that she had been assaulted by a boyfriend of some type. I started to talk to the female who had the blue coat on, and I said, okay. I said, well, what happened? Who is this person? And she tried to downplay what happened. She didn't want to be cooperative. She made comments to the effect of, nothing happened. It was just a verbal argument. I'm fine. I just want to leave.
Did you see any injury on her?
So at that time, I did. The 2 subjects that were with her tried to tell her that they said, no, Erica, you need to tell him what happened. And one of the subjects looked at me and said, officer, you need to look at her face, because she was bladed a little bit to 45 degrees away from me. So I kind of stepped and looked a little bit to the side, and I could see that her face was swollen. There was obvious bruising on it. She had an obvious black eye on one side of her face. The other eye also looked like it was swollen, but it was appear that she had facial injuries that were obvious.
You said they referred to this person by the name of Erica, is that right?
Yes.
Did you eventually ask this person for her name?
I did eventually ask for her name, yes.
What did she tell you?
She told me that her full name was Erica Patterson and that her date of birth was 10/7 of 1990.
Okay. And were you going to investigate her complaint further?
I was attempting to investigate the complaint further, yes.
And then what happened?
So as I was speaking to this woman who identified herself as Erica, along with the 2 other people that were with her who I did not identify, the calls on the radio at that point were 1078 after 1078 after 1078.
Okay, what does that mean?
So 1078 in law enforcement jargon is officer needs immediate assistance right now, all available units. As that was being called multiple times, other people were coming on the radio and stating there were subjects down in the street, then it was 10 people down, then it was 15, then it was to 30 or 40. And I had to make a decision at that point, speaking with the subjects, particularly the one who appeared to be involved and the most injured, who was not being cooperative with me, that the greater danger and the clear and present threat that was happening downtown had to draw my attention. I had to leave.
All right. The events that you've described for us so far, are those all captured on your squad video, sir?
Yes.
And at that time, in November of 2021, were you wearing a body camera?
I was not wearing a body camera at that time.
So you had a video recording device in your squad car, correct? But when you exit your squad, it's no longer recording your activities unless you can be seen on the camera in front of the squad, correct?
I have an audio recording device on my person that is synced and connected to my squad exterior windshield camera.
Okay. And that camera in your squad is stationary, is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Eventually then, do you leave the area where you're speaking with Erica and the other 2 individuals and go to Main Street?
I leave the area. I tell her I'm sorry that I had to go. I went down White Rock, navigated float traffic, went down East Main Street in a westbound direction, and eventually came to East Main Street at Barstow Street, where I exited my patrol vehicle.
Okay, I'm gonna ask. Oh, yes. Before I move away from Exhibit 1, could we please get a screenshot, Madam Clerk, of the drawings by Officer Phillips? And then I'm gonna ask to switch to Exhibit 6, please.
So for purposes of the record, I believe I'm at 1C for the capturing using the annotation feature.
Think we agree with that? Yes. All right, officer, you see, we've now put Exhibit 6 on your monitor. It's not yet displayed for the courtroom. Do you see Exhibit 6 on your monitor?
Yes.
Do you recognize this, or do you want us to play it for a few seconds?
I recognize what I'm looking at.
Okay. Do you believe this to be a truthful and accurate recording from your squad video that afternoon, sir?
I haven't listened to it at this point, but I would believe if it's from what I'm looking at, it would be accurate to my squad video, yes.
Okay. And you ultimately saved your squad video and submitted it to be used as evidence in this case, correct, sir?
Yes, I did.
All right. And this is a clip from that squad video?
It appears to be, yes.
Okay. Move to admit and permission to publish Exhibit 6, please.
Mr. Brooks, any position on that?
Yeah. What is the grounds? We haven't seen what's in the video.
Your objection is noted. It is overruled. Exhibit 6 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
All right, so for the record, this clip is about 6 minutes long. It exactly ends at the 5:59 mark, but we're going to play it through, Officer Phillips, and I may ask Ms. Gussie to pause at times so you can kind of describe what's going on in the video. But if you can just orient us what we're looking at right now, please, before we start playing.
So this is an orientation. This would be White Rock Avenue facing a southwesterly direction that would go directly to Main Street. This right here is Baxter Street. And then what you're looking at on the right-hand corner is White Rock Elementary School.
What about way down in the distance? It looks perhaps like it's a church steeple.
So you can see what looks like the church steeple down. That's going to be Main Street down there. And particularly of note, you can see what looks to be a silver-colored car in the center of the roadway. That is Sergeant Warner's unmarked SUV patrol vehicle.
Okay, now
I'd just like to make a record when he was pointing and saying this, at least initially, he was using his right hand pointing to the roadway that's depicted in the still of this video image. He also said over here, or this is Baxter. You can see about midway in the frame a street sign, and there's a street that intersects. That's where he was pointing to, that particular street. Again, I believe that was Baxter. And I believe the rest of his comments comport with the record and don't need further explanation or at least verification by the court. So go ahead.
all right, thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start to play. We're at the 0 mark right now.
So I got these, you let me know if you're going down then?
Where are you going now?
Pause,
Pause, please. I'm sorry. 9 second. We're pausing. Go ahead, officer.
So what you're looking at here is Baxter Street. And right off to your right-hand side, I get that pointing at things with my hand isn't necessarily ideal. But the building over here is the Schutze building. Where those squad lights are there is the parking lot of the Schutze building. There's at least one officer already on foot in this vicinity of the Schutze building where the alleged knife fight with multiple individuals were involved.
Okay. And I see, looks like red and blue lights there in the middle of the photo, or the video.
Correct.
Whose squad is that?
I know one of them is Officer Nick Hendrickson.
Okay. And is that the officer that you were referring to earlier when you said another officer was also trying to help you find these subjects involved in the fight?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Off to the left, it looks like there's a bunch of cars parked there.
Correct.
Is that general parking available to the public?
That is general public parking for the Schutze building.
Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and play again.
For the subject of it, or claiming that this fight happened? And they were at Hartwell and Maine with the reserve officer.
Are you driving on Baxter now?
I am driving down
The patrol men, the two subjects, walked down towards the White Rock School, Hispanic male, Hispanic female.
Pause it, please. Whose voice was that, if you know?
I'm not going to say I know 100% sure on that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Play.
216, I'm 1060. I will meet with the callers.
This is Gary. Slow everybody down. I don't see anything resembling what's being reported.
Let's do, I got it. All this was expensive for you. Just do it.
Pause. It's a little hard to see, but on the right-hand side, did you see the individuals walking down the street there?
I did. My squad just passed.
I'm sorry,
but
sidewalk, yeah.
About 2 seconds prior, there were 3 individuals who were walking down the sidewalk. These are the 3 individuals that flagged me down on the passenger side of my car.
Okay. Go ahead.
What the fuck?
We had 52 man and burn, so somebody got hit.
What? What?
Black guy, red SUV, just assaulted my friend in the park. Oh shit!
This big guy, he not hit me. So they come to cops.
And you said you can't
Are you guys involved with a knife or something?
You can check me.
Okay. Okay.
I've already been slashed with the
Wait,
knife.
wait, wait,
Let me pull over here.
Yeah, what the
I didn't say you
Yes, pardon me, you need a 1052, I copy 854.
122, out there, car, Bedford westbound, Main, by subway.
Hey, hold on for a second, okay? 216, I need another at Hartwell and White Rock. I have another person reported being assaulted. Okay. White Rock, Hartwell, White
Me and
Rock.
my baby daddy, we argue all the time.
Okay.
They understand when he ran me over with cars. Right now we're just talking. Nothing is happening. There's no knife, nothing. They call and send me an argument.
Okay.
Before we were doing, they come in.
Shots fired, Wisconsin and West. I'm checking for injuries. There was someone running through the parade route at a high rate of speed.
Send it back to his nose. I think the woman showed me.
3206, 1078, 1078.
Okay.
They called for me.
102! It is 1078! We have about 10 to 15 people down in the street!
Who assaulted you? Who ran?
We're arguing. We're assaulting. They called.
Do you have a weapon?
We have multiple subjects down, 10 to 15 people, main and gas fire, repeating, main and gas fire, 1078.
They called. There's no fucking weapons.
I didn't call it. You gotta handle that, that's fine.
Okay. What is your name? Give me your name.
P-R-I-K-A-T-H-P-R-S-A.
Harris, what's your date of birth?
October 7, 1990.
So, 10/7/1990? Erica Patterson? Okay. Okay.
I copy 1078.
Well, my unit 552, Kent County People's Park, female, not conscious, not alert, not breathing. Kent County, everybody here available now. 102 has got multiple critical branches. Oh, yeah. We're doing CPR on an individual at 369 West Main Street. Got an unconscious, unresponsive 5-year-old. I'm trying to get into the vehicle again.
Was that you running away from your squad, sir?
That was me running away, yes.
Okay. Go ahead and have a seat, please. It was a little bit difficult to hear when you asked Erica Patterson who assaulted her. Did she tell you a name?
She did not, no.
She did not provide you with any names?
She did not.
Okay. You had her name and her date of birth, and that was it at that point?
That's all I could gather before I had to burn out of there as fast as I could.
Okay. Now, when you got to Main Street, where'd you go?
When I got to Main Street, as most of you probably just saw in the video, I took a westbound direction all the way down to Barstow. There's still floats in the parade. I think there was a lot of people that didn't exactly know what was happening in front of them. When I got to Barstow and exited my patrol vehicle and you saw me running down towards the center of the street, at that point I was just trying to assist any officer, EMS, civilian individual that was around, and it was just mass chaos, carnage everywhere.
Did you attempt to render aid to some injured individuals?
There was approximately 2 to 3 individuals I can remember talking to directly. They were all members of the band. I don't know which band it was. It was one of the high school bands. They were in the vicinity just west of Barstow on Main. There was a number of them laying in the street, obviously injured. I had face-to-face contact with a few of them laying on the ground. There were parents screaming at me to help their kids. I did what basic measures that I could take as far as emergency life-saving goes. I checked pulses. I asked them to squeeze my finger, asked them what hurt, what they could move. The 2 or 3 I talked to could still move. They could still talk. They could tell me what hurt. There were multiple people standing around them also providing aid. At that point, some of the radio traffic that I was picking up on, I was gathering that potentially a vehicle had driven through the parade and hit some of these individuals. I contemplated throwing some of these people in my patrol vehicle and trying to get them to a hospital. However, my vehicle just simply isn't equipped to have that kind of space or room to do that. So given the fact that I didn't want to try to move anybody unnecessarily that would have caused further damage to them, especially if somebody's involved in blunt force trauma, such as a car crash, I said, hey, if you're doing fine right now, somebody will be by shortly, we'll get you an ambulance, just hang tight where you are. And that's basically what I had to ensure at least the 2 or 3 people that I came across. The third person I came across was also a band member. She was a female. Her leg was obviously injured. She was being held upright by a couple of adults. And I asked her what was wrong, what was hurting, if there's anything more serious with her as she was being held up. And she said, officer, I saw what happened. I saw who did this. And I said, what can you tell me? And she said, a red SUV sped through the parade and did this. She didn't say anything more than that. I said, okay. I was like, stay with your family, stay with your parents. Somebody will be by with an ambulance to get you shortly.
These 3 injured individuals you spoke to, would you describe them all as being about teenage years?
Objection.
Overruled, he may answer.
This is the grounds, Your Honor.
Overruled, he may answer.
So is he gonna answer to the question to
Yes.
the prosecution table or to the jury? I'm not sure. He's looking at them answering the questions, but they're not answering the question, asking the questions.
You may answer the question, sir.
The 3 individuals that I met with initially had band uniforms on, and it was my understanding that the band from that vicinity right then and there was a high school band, so I would place them all at teenage age range.
Okay, thank you. Were you aware that at some point a person was taken into custody in the 500 block of Elizabeth Street that was related to this incident, sir?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled.
I was made aware a little while after my involvement directly in the downtown area, yes.
Did you learn the name of the person who had been taken into custody?
Yes.
What was that name?
I knew from radio traffic at the time that it was a Darrell Brooks. I didn't know the date of birth or middle name or anything at that point.
At some point later, after the chaos had somewhat settled, did you have an opportunity to go back and try and investigate the initial complaint you had taken from Erica Patterson?
Yes, I did.
Did you attempt to identify Ms. Patterson fully through police records?
I did identify Ms. Patterson fully by positive ID, yes.
And did you learn of any complaints that have been filed by Ms. Patterson in the past to other police agencies?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled. He may answer the question that's being posed at this point.
I did conduct some more investigation after my involvement in the entire mass casualty incident. When I went back to the police department afterwards, and I was able to verify that Erica Patterson had been involved in other police cases outside of Waukesha.
And specifically, could you find anything linking Ms. Patterson to the defendant, Darrell Brooks?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I did find information through our reporting system and other law enforcement sources to directly link Erica Patterson to Darrell Brooks, yes.
And did that information also directly link Darrell Brooks to a vehicle described as a red SUV?
Yes, it did.
I don't have any other questions for this witness at this time, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brooks, you may start your cross-examination.
I notice, Officer Phillips, you are in uniform this afternoon. Were you scheduled to work today?
Yes.
So it would be fair to say that you would be on duty as of now if you weren't giving testimony in this matter.
I would be on duty right now, yes.
So it will also be fair to ask if it would be fair to say that you giving testimony right now, you're still getting paid for it?
I am currently employed by the City of Waukesha Police Department on a working patrol shift, on a normal shift for myself, yes.
So with that, would it be fair to say that you are getting paid right now as we speak?
Yes, I'm getting paid right now.
By whom?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained. Next question.
Were you subpoenaed by the plaintiff in this matter?
Can you rephrase the question?
Were you subpoenaed to testify here today by the plaintiff?
Can you explain it in another way?
That was pretty clear. Were you subpoenaed to testify by the plaintiff in this matter?
I was subpoenaed by the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office to testify in this matter.
And can you say that again just for the record?
I was subpoenaed by the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office in this matter.
Is the Waukesha County Prosecution's office the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you know of any plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Have you ever seen the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Have you ever talked
Sustained.
Have you ever talked to the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Why are you continuing to look at parties that are not asking the questions?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
So, in the video, it's kind of hard to hear everything that was said when you pulled over and interviewed the three individuals. Can you give a little more commentary on what was actually said?
Can you clarify exactly?
What exactly were you told by the three individuals that you pulled over to interview?
I don't remember or recall exactly what all three individuals said to me, as 1078 and the screams for help by other officials over the radio were directing my attention to figure out what was also going on downtown. What I recall hearing from these individuals is that one of the individuals that was not Erica indicated that their friend had been in a fight or an altercation. So that's when I decided to pull over to try to get more information out of them. Erica, told me that nothing happened, that there was just a verbal altercation, that she wanted nothing to happen and she just wanted to leave. That's when another one of the individuals said, Erica, you need to report what happened. And she still didn't want to. And that was basically about the extent of it when I just tried to get her name as these calls over the radio were coming for whatever was happening downtown that was unbeknownst to me at the time.
So would it be fair to say that you do recall the commentary of the interview?
I'm sorry. Now I will object as argumentative, Your Honor.
Sustained. What I would say, Mr. Brooks, is the use of the word commentary mischaracterizes the evidence. It's argumentative.
So it would be fair to say that you do recall what was said after already saying you don't recall.
I object. It's argumentative.
Sustained. Rephrase your question.
It would be fair to say that you responded to a fight at Frame Park, possibly involving a knife. That'd be fair to say?
That is what the initial dispatch was, yes.
Was any knife recovered from that scene, or?
I did not recover a knife, no.
Did you see anybody with a knife?
I did not see any individual with a knife.
Did you learn who reported that there was a knife involved?
I do not know the subjects' names that actually reported the incident, no.
From your recollection, sorry. Just 1 second. from your recollection, was Erica Patterson being cooperative with the information that she gave you?
Erica Patterson was not being cooperative with the information she was giving me, no.
Do you recall if the male individual reported any information to you?
I believe I heard a male's voice during the time that I was flagged down. I don't recall what information he told me directly.
But there was 3 individuals that you interviewed at that time. Would that be fair to say?
There were 3 individuals present at the time I was flagged down, yes.
And one of them was a male. Would that be fair to say?
Correct, yes.
But you don't recall him relaying any type of information to you at that time?
I remember hearing a male's voice. I don't remember what information that specific person told me at that time.
Just so we're clear on the record, about how long did you conduct that interview? Would you say, was it a couple of minutes or?
I'd have to look directly at the squad video for an exact timestamp, but I would say it was in the vicinity of 1.5 to 2 minutes.
After you interviewed those 3 individuals, did you later gain any more information of the incident that you were investigating at that time?
I did not gain any further information regarding the specific fight that I was initially dispatched to, no.
Just so we're clear for the record, you did not talk to the plaintiff about testifying.
Objection.
Vague. Sustained.
Did you say vague? Were you contacted in any way by the plaintiff to testify here today?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you know if there's even a plaintiff in this matter?
I was contacted by the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office to testify in this case.
Do you know if that's the plaintiff in this matter?
Generally, in a criminal case, the plaintiff would be the state of Wisconsin. That is my assumption in this case, that the plaintiff is the state of Wisconsin.
So the state of Wisconsin is the plaintiff in this matter, to your knowledge?
That would be correct, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Do you have any redirect?
Just very briefly, one question. You have been asked by Mr. Brooks if you did anything to further investigate the initial fight that you were dispatched to. Do you remember that question?
Yes.
Did you, in fact, relay to detectives who were working on this parade incident the information you had found out about the link between Erica Patterson and Darrell Brooks?
Yes.
To your knowledge, did detectives then follow up?
To my knowledge, it's detectives that followed up on any further investigation regarding the fight itself.
Thank you. Nothing else.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down.